Opinions expressed on this show are those of the authors. Any content provided by our bloggers or authors are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, municipality, individual, or anyone or anything.
He's a surgeon. He's a 100-ton boat captain. He's a lieutenant on Seaside Heights Beach Patrol in New Jersey. He's a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's Dr. Michael Kachmar. Need answers to your medical questions? We have them. Listen in to hear latest on medical topics related to all that and more.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. How are you doing today?
Yeah.
So this is Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar. Today's date is July 8th, the year of our Lord, 2022. I don't know when's the last time we had a show. Because of the 4th of July holiday, we were kind of a little bit behind.
Yeah. Well, this is your busy time of year too, right?
Yeah. Let me just move my. Let me move this here, Jeremy.
For those of you who are regular listeners, Dr. Kachmar is also a lieutenant at the boardwalk,
Seaside Beach Patrol. So we're pretty busy.
Yeah, and it's been mad down there, hasn't it? Like it's been crazy.
Yeah, we had record crowds. So Friday wasn't too good. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday were unbelievable. We've had probably had 20,000 people in the water. I mean, not in the water, on the beach. 20,000 people, and that's Seaside Heights, New Jersey. It was a beautiful day. Not really any problems. We worked very hard. The water was a little bit rough, but everybody was really well behaved.
Nobody was being stupid or anything like that.
No, everybody seemed to be fairly nice.
That's nice to hear, because that's not exactly a thing that happens every week, right?
No. So, Jeremy, you want to say this is Jeremy? Introduce yourself.
You know me. I'm your old pal, Jeremy. I am a director of marketing, and I specialize in medical marketing and also other junk. I make commercials. I make TV commercials, radio commercials, and I'm here because I market surgeons as well. So
right.
This
he helps out.
Yeah.
So Jeremy's the sidekick here, and we have 4 shows. This is Scrubbing Up with Dr. Kachmar. We have lifeguards off duty. Lifeguards. Well, it's called
lifeguarding.
Lifeguarding with Dr. Michael Kachmar.
Yeah.
We have a subset, and the social aspect that is lifeguards off duty. Yeah. And then we have also...
we got Radio Free America starring Dr. Barbara Schneider. That's going to be tomorrow morning. That's Saturday mornings at 10, every Saturday.
Right. And if you can't see her on YouTube, go to Rumble, because they've been giving her a hard time.
Go to our Rumble channel where you'll find the Scrubbing Ups, the Lifeguarding.
And what's the other one? We have one more channel.
And then we have one more channel with the master of pain himself, Dr. Gabriel Jasper of the Jasper Spine Institute. His show is called Painless. Yeah, there it is for the doc. Painless with Dr. Gabriel Jasper. Right now he's racing. He's in his race car racing around. So we're hoping he wins this weekend. But, Painless with Dr. Gabriel Jasper.
Right.
For more information about him, go to jaspermd.com. And for more information about Dr. Barbara Schneider, it's goseebarb.com.
So we're going to talk about 2 issues today. It's kind of a continuation of what we've been talking about. So this is a medical, political show. What we're going to talk about today is one thing is the meltdown of people with the Supreme Court.
Over Roe v. Wade?
Well, Roe v. Wade, but also the for the guns, because there was a mass shooting July 4th. Yeah. They say mass shooting. We want to put things in perspective. With regard to the abortion law, I'm a physician, and I'm not an OBGYN. I'm a surgeon, but we're consistent. We're not against abortion. When I say that, you got to be careful how you say it. But I think abortion is killing life. In our last show, we talked about abortion for the first trimester was reasonable. Yeah. It's been always that kind of way. It's a compromise. Because
there's always special circumstances, say a child of incest, as the child of rape. Obviously.
No, well, but when you say, but we're not talking about, we're talking about any reason. The first 3 months.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but a lot of people are saying, well, even you got to remember, you got to get very specific about this.
Right.
Well, there are times where an abortion to save the woman's life is important.
Yes.
It happens.
Yeah.
It's also, there are times where when you talk about incest and rape, but you should know that by 3 months.
Oh,
Now,
sure.
now
Yeah,
what
yeah.
we talked about is this is when we talk about abortion, I want to put things in perspective because this is something that's people are losing their minds about this.
Oh my God, they are.
I'm not going to talk about the law per se, because the law with regard to the Supreme Court justice, I don't think they're biased. I don't think they're political. The law, the way I read it, and I'm not a lawyer, again, was weak to begin with. There's no constitutional amendment to agree or to substantiate having an abortion. There are amendments, 14th Amendment specifically, that says you have the right, the constitutional right for life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. Life means life. The question is, I think the whole thing with this abortion, so we don't get emotional about it, is when does life start? I think that if life starts at conception, then you're killing the baby. And if life starts maybe 12 weeks later, it's a compromise. But when people talk about it's my body, it's a woman, and you got some old white guy telling me what to do. First of all, it's your body, absolutely. You could do anything you want with your body. You could take it off, jump off a bridge, put a bullet to your head. But you have another human being in your body. At some point along that way, that's another human being.
See, that's what I was thinking about.
So you're not, it's not just you. And hold that thought, because my thing is that as a doctor, when I get an ankle fracture in a girl who's 1 month pregnant, I'm not treating just her. I'm treating that baby.
Yeah.
And if I take her to the operating room, I could harm the baby. If we do procedures, we give medicine. So I'm treating two people.
There's a lot of stuff that you hope won't happen, but might.
But you understand. So it's not just from a medical standpoint. I see both sides of it.
There's a danger.
Well, no, but you're dealing with two people. You're dealing when I have a woman who's a month pregnant, and I have to operate on her. She fractured her ankle.
You don't think of one person, you think of two.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of times the mother is thinking that too. They want that baby to be viable.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's funny. But
once the baby is in the belly, doesn't it? I mean, and the mother is feeding the baby. Her body is helping the baby grow.
Say that word belly again. You like that?
Belly.
You sound like that.
Belly.
That.
Or
What's,
belly dancer.
Well, no. What's that movie where the guy goes? I eat little kids. That what was the? What it was?
Like Fat Bastard. On,
yeah.
You Get in my belly.
Yeah, you sound like that.
Yeah.
But understand, Jeremy. Follow the thought here, is that when the mother wants the baby, okay, all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but at 1 month, 2 months, at 3 weeks, whenever, God forbid, they're not going to, when an ankle fracture, say, oh, just abort the baby. So there's a lot of ways to look at it. What I'm saying with this abortion thing, because it's hyper crazy right now, hyper crazy.
Because that's what you told us just then is the medical side of it. Like now, what these people, these everyday Joes who don't know about all the other little things that might occur, say if there was an accident, sprains an ankle, should we abort the baby? Is that right? Is that wrong? But most people don't go through those situations. Most people, they have these almost pre-written ideologies about what they feel comfortable with about abortion.
Well, if you start reading about it, if you look at, we talk trimester, so you're looking at the first, say, because it's baby, it's about nine months. So you say the first 3 months. That's 4, 8, 12 weeks. 12 weeks, okay? The first 12 weeks, about 20%, 15, 20, 30%, according to the literature, of those pregnancies abort naturally or this miscarriage.
Yeah.
So that's a really rough time. After that, after the first 3 months, the viability of that fetus is very high, is very good. Okay, that's what I read. I'm not an OBGYN, but I'm just telling you what I see. So I think that if you're going to talk about abortion, that the place where there's room for compromise is in the first 3 months. Now, if you look at the bill that Governor DeSantis has in Florida, they're talking 15 weeks, I guess on demand for abortion, irrespective of what was the reason for getting pregnant. But after that, it's done. Now, that's 15 weeks. That's I think, a really good time. In state of New Jersey, we're one of the worst states as far as when you could pull the plug. There's no time. You could basically have an abortion up to the time of birth. In New York State,
which I got to tell you is mental. All
right.
right.
Well, yeah. In New York State, Jeremy, it's 24 weeks on demand. 24 weeks. How many months is that? That's 6 months.
Yeah.
Right? 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 6 months. If you don't know you're pregnant in 6 months. Now, then after that, in New York State, after the first 6 months, it's on demand. You walk in there, your big fat belly, and that baby is pretty viable.
Yeah.
You could have the baby now aborted for the next 6 months, or not 6 months. Next, let me see. Yes, am I 6? Am I thinking wrong? 4, 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, for 6 months, 3 more months. You could have it aborted as long as the doctor agrees. And again, it may be saving the mom's life. But my point is that they had went overboard. A lot of states went overboard, and I think rightfully so. A lot of people said, enough is enough. This is too far. So I think getting back to this, issue of my body and this is not your body completely. It's a human being in there. Somewhere along the line that baby possesses a soul and should have the right to life. The 14th Amendment protects life.
As soon as a woman gets a pregnancy test, right, and she sees that she's pregnant, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the first thing that pops into her mind? She's got a life inside of her, So we could take this argument all up and down the months and stuff and weeks, but it's really just down to the individual, what their personal belief system is, and people can get very violent, very angry about this because it's not enough for them to live their life, a live and let live sort of philosophy. They want you to believe what they believe, and that's always been the problem.
Well, here's the thing, and we all want to be consistent with our show and how.
Mm-hmm. That's consistent,
right? I think that what I hope to see is a couple of things. With the way the law is, the way I understand it, it's going back to the states. So there's still going to be abortion in states that allow it, and they're going to fight it. The states that don't allow it or curtail it, they're gonna fight it. I think that. What I think is going to happen is going to be a compromise, and I think probably what you're going to see, what I think is reasonable, I think most people in the United States would agree upon, is the first 3 months, the first trimester.
Yeah.
This heartbeat thing, maybe it's only 1 month, but 12 weeks I think is reasonable, and you could be, if you're having sex and be tested. And then I think it should be abortion should be rare. It should be not encouraged. And I think that people have to think about adoption, things of that nature. What do you think, Jeremy? Like I know you know you.
I was actually listening to. They played something about Bill Clinton and what he said about abortion, and it was actually something I think a lot of people on both sides agreed with, and it should be something that is carefully thought out and happens rarely.
Yeah,
that's what they said.
Yeah,
or that's what Bill Clinton said, and that kind of, because he's just injecting responsibility into it in some degree or another, aren't they?
Right.
A lot of because the argument stands where the people who are pro-choice. A lot of those people are just when they were celebrating the Roe v. Wade overturn. Okay, there was a lot of people twerking, like bringing it, like almost like, come on, let's have sex, and now there's no consequences and stuff, and it's those people that actually ruin the actual
All right.
responsible
Right,
debate about what's going
Well,
on.
well, let's tackle another thing. So, I think that most people that I talk to think abortion is killing life, but the compromise, because it's an imperfect world, is to limit it to a reasonable time. And to me, if there's 20-30% of spontaneous abortions in the first trimester, trimester is not a bad place to have a limit. That's number one. Number two, what I think this is important, is that people are losing their minds saying that this country, democracy, we're losing democracy, it's broken, we have to pack the court, we have to get rid of the filibuster. I'm like, whoa. First of all, the system's not broke. You get a grip. Everybody's being emotional. All right, the Supreme Court and the justices, when they deal with these things, sometimes they make good laws, sometimes they don't. But I try to read and listen to as many people as I can about the law. And I don't know any constitutional amendment that agrees on abortion. Now, just listen to this. This is interesting. This woman, Barwise, although Barwise personally, this is an article here out of the Washington Post. And I want to put the premise of Washington Post. Washington Post is so negative, so anti. I mean, it seems like they're so anti-American, so hateful. The stuff that they put in there, I don't know if they, I don't understand where they come from. It seems like they want this country to be dissolved and get rid of all of our founding fathers and our principles. Yeah. But listen to this. This is several authors here, and so this is for most of Michelle Bauerweiser viewed the Supreme Court as a sober, dedicated, protecting the rights of all Americans, especially those who aren't white men. Again, they got to throw to white men. Everything is white men. White men. Yeah. So she personally opposes abortion. She disagreed with the rolling back of the nationwide right to an abortion and saw it as yet another example of how American democracy is broken. Well, first of all, there is no nationwide right to an abortion. Mm-hmm. There's no constitutional amendment. In fact, if you make the argument, the way I read the Constitution, especially the 14th Amendment, you have the right, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. The Declaration of Independence talked about that. So life, that baby is not living. That entity is not living. Now, when is it a salient being is the real issue. So it's disingenuous to tell me, and I don't think you'll ever have an abortion law. I mean, you think that, we're going to put it in law where, okay, you could kill a baby. We may get technology. What happens when we get technology, Jeremy, where we could take that fetus out of there and put it in an external environment and have a human being? Mm. I guarantee it. It'll happen eventually.
Oh, that'll happen, definitely.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Nationwide right to an abortion. Well, no. If you want to have a nation right to an abortion, get the states together and have an amendment. Have a constitutional amendment. That's the right way to do it. Not get rid of the court, not, pack the filibuster. I don't want to get into that. So this woman, so she's a new mom, and she goes on here. So can we put this up for me, Jeremy? Can you put this up on the thing? Yeah. Put this up here. So put this up. So give me my iPhone. I want to show you this. So here it is right here. So here's, after Roe decision, Americans lose faith in the Supreme Court and democracy. Well, I don't know what they mean by democracy. The Supreme Court is acting, they are a democracy. You have three branches of government. And why would they lose faith? I mean, think about this. When the Supreme Court, right, went and cited for Love versus Mississippi. Love was a white guy, married a black woman in a different state. In Mississippi, you weren't allowed to interracial marriage. Mm-hmm. Well, the Supreme Court said no. But a lot of people didn't agree with that. A lot of people didn't agree and still don't agree with gay marriage. Okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, I know people who say that's bullshit, but not me. But my point is, you're not going to, and everybody's going to be happy with everything. It's a compromise. But to say, I can understand somebody saying, I don't agree with that. I think we should have, abortion on demand. I think we should be able, like in New Jersey, to abort a child just a day before they're born. Or in New York State, 24 weeks. I disagree with that. I think that's a bridge too far. Okay, so let's just go to this article here. But what they're saying here is democracy is broken. What do they mean by that? democracy is broken.
I think back in the day, we used to refer to that as collateral damage. Whenever there's a situation just like this, they like to tack on the little extras, like it's going to damage this, it's going to damage that too. Is it far-fetched? I don't know.
Well, it says here. They're saying this is Washington Post. The majority of people in this country want abortion until 9 months. I don't think so. Not the people I talk to.
No, we just found that. I found out the 9 months thing
So
a couple weeks back, and it shocked me. I never knew about that, or that's what they were looking to do. And so, but that's another part of that whole shell game. They keep moving around, squeezing a little thing out here. Let's abort babies at 9 months. I mean, it's kind of crazy. It really is.
Right, but so what they want, I'm just looking here. So this is looking at all this. You could get rid of this, Jeremy. Put me back on. So what they want to do now is, so everybody's, and also the gun laws too. They're all like, oh my God, this is terrible. Yeah. But they'll bitch about the people who bum rushed the Senate and Congress. And by the way, that's not the first time. The Capitol. In 1954, 4 Puerto Rican nationalists went in there with semi-automatic handguns while Congress was in session and unloaded 30 rounds, shot 6 congressmen. That was in 1934. Yeah. Carter pardoned them. Did you know that?
No, you know why I didn't know that, Mike?
No,
because January 6th of last year
is the worst thing ever.
Is the worst thing ever.
But
you bring in that other stuff. I got a question. Like, what side are you on here, Mike? What side are you on?
So my point is that the Supreme Court made this decision, and you want to pack the court now. You want to destroy the whole system. You have alternative motives. This is the people inflaming. This is because they have agenda. Here's the thing: you have a thing called a filibuster. Filibuster, for people who don't understand that, is where the Senate has to have a supermajority to pass law. If you have the executive branch, you have the judicial branch, which is the Supreme Court, and you have the legislative branch, which is the Senate and the Congress. And the filibuster, you have to have a supermajority. Why? Because the founding fathers didn't want to have emotion brought to the table to change law. We don't have a democracy. It's not a pure democracy. Go look it up. I'm getting really. I try to be really nice, but I'm getting to the point where they're not stupid. They're just misinformed. They're uninformed. Yeah. Guys, go out there and read. Yeah. Read history.
I was going to say to you,
they're just walking around.
Say to you, the people who believe opposing sides or whatever, a lot of and they're out for these extreme things like 9 months is good for an abortion, but these people, where did they come from? What's their background? But that's my point. If they're not educating. If they're coming from a background of I read the headlines and that's all I believe.
Right.
I mean, that's where these people are coming from.
I really think that there's an agenda out there, and it's a bigger agenda, is that they want to destroy this country. They talk about democracy. The worst thing you want to destroy democracy, pack the court. Because here's the thing, if you have the filibuster, right? Filibuster have to have supermajority. If you get rid of the filibuster, then you could basically when the Democrats get in, if they want, they could pack the court with all of their liberal judges. Now you mess up the balance of power. Right now, you have a balance of power. You have the judicial, which is looking at the Constitution, whether or not the law fits the constitutional glove. You have the legislative that makes law, Congress and Senate. And then you have the executive branch, which is President of the United States, which is all of your EPA, IRS, military. And you have 3 branches of government, and they do fight against each other, and they should check each other. And then of course we used to have the press, but now the press, talk about bias, democracy. When the press is predominant, when you have the press just going after one political ideology, that's not good either. But let's just get back to this thing about packing democracy.
Yeah, I have a question before you go on further. Okay, and this is towards you. I want to know what you think about this. So after the Roe v. Wade overturn, right?
Right.
We started seeing Biden get back up onto his little pulpit there, and he started telling people that this this isn't the end. We're going to make changes, and we're going to go against this, and we're going to go against that. Now, that's him pretty much just going against what our government's made up of. You know, the judiciary, the legislative, and the executive branches. So, I mean, the whole point that these things go through, and we have a branch that is just judiciary law. You know, aren't these groups put together to prevent one group from overturning another, or going against?
Listen. There's politics too. Yeah, the executive branch, which is Biden right now, he can say what he wants to say. He's not going to. You got to understand too. When it's funny because when Trump was president, he actually said, "There's a clip. You go look on it. It's still floating around." He said, "I want to get these justices in, and what they're going to do is they're going to overturn Roe v. Wade and put it back to the states where it should be." Now, think about what that is. You got it both ways. Right now, the federal government cannot and will not, and I don't see them doing it, say to New Jersey, you can't have abortion until until the day the baby's born. So they threw it back to the states. But also, they're not going to say to a state who wants to outlaw abortion that you have to have it. So there's where the problem is. Nobody's going to. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. Me, I don't think the state of New Jersey. I'm not happy about having an abortion. 9 months into the pregnancy, but also I'm not happy with having no abortion at all.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that's where most of us are. So now, and I understand the angst of a lot of people. They're like, "What are we going to do?" Well, instead of talking about burning down the building, getting rid of the Supreme Court, getting rid of the filibuster, democracy is all done. Whoo, the world, it's falling down, the ceiling, the roof. We're done. How about listen, get a grip. You're going to be able to get an abortion. It's probably going to be inconvenient for some states, but then what you do is you go vote. You get out there. You get not violence, no violence. You don't go crazy, and you go in your state and you start petitioning and for the legislatures and the governor and try to change it. What you think is reasonable. Yeah. There's 50 states in this country. People don't understand. The federal government is not the all-encompassing. States have rights, quite a bit rights. When you want to get rid of all the states and have just like one giant country. Well, good luck on that one.
Good luck on that one.
So we don't have that. I have a license to practice medicine in New Jersey. I don't have a license to practice in California. I can't go to California, get on a plane, and open up a shingle and practice. Why? Because it's a different state.
Yeah.
You're like, what? You can't, if you got a license in New Jersey to plumber, you can't go, over there. No. Every driver's license, register.
It's just the same if you were coming from overseas. You can't be a doctor here unless you pass to be a doctor over here. That's it.
Well, but you can't. You got to get a license in each state. Yeah, you got to get a license in. You can't. Well, in New Jersey, actually, it's interesting. You can get a license to practice medicine and anything else. You don't have to be a legal alien, which is another great one. Yeah, they passed that law. So getting back to the abortion, and can you put this up on my phone again?
Yeah.
So they have come up here. This is 10 ways to fix a broken Supreme Court. I love this. So, and this is Vox, another anti-American. I don't know what these people. I don't know. Hey, I say these. Yeah, this guy is Ian Millhauser. Give me a better scenario. Show me what you think that getting rid of the Supreme Court and packing it, we're going to have a better country, a better society, right? I want to talk about gun laws too. But
Roe v. Wade is dead. Gun laws throughout the nation are now in peril. The court is pummeling the wall separating church and state, and it isn't afraid to tell easily disapprovable falsehoods to achieve its goal. Now, that's the big one right there.
Okay, so let's go. So first of all, Roe v. Wade is dead. Abortion's not dead. They're still giving abortions in New Jersey, New York State, and probably California. So it's not, it's in peril. It just got kicked back to the states. So let's calm down. Now, pummeling the wall separating church and state. There was a guy who was praying in a football game. He's a Christian. He wants to pray. So they're all there, and because the justices said he could pray.
Yeah.
I don't see that pummeling the separation of
because religion is racist.
Right, and it's also, the interesting thing about this is that they're making this thing that the Supreme Court all of a sudden is the worst thing in the world, and they're not.
But that's their new narrative. Everything that happens between January 6th to now and into the near future, it's all just
so here's
the
another
worst
one.
thing that's ever happened to our country.
And this is a fight between the states' rights and the federal government. Don't think this is just abortion or the Supreme Court. It's not the Supreme Court against the people, and because they're white old guys. First of all, not. It's so stupid. There's black people. I mean, you got all kinds of people in the Supreme Court, but here power to defer their state constitution, dismantling the Voters Act. You look at these Voters Act. They want to throttle down on mail-in ballots where you have to have an ID, and you want to have a photo ID. Come on, let's go. Let's, stripping the federal courts of their authority. It says only 3 justices in American history were appointed by a president who lost the popular vote. We're getting back to the Electoral College. They want to get rid of that. So the Electoral College is a great book written by an individual named John Yoo. It's called Defender in Chief. And the Founding Fathers put together the Electoral College, okay? Give me a better way to pick the President of the United States. How are you going to pick the President if you don't have Electoral College? By majority vote? That's what you want? Then what happens is, you know what happens, Jeremy, if it's majority vote? You could have California, New York, and maybe, I don't know, Illinois electing the President of the United States.
Right.
What happens to a little state like Rhode Island or Maryland? They're never going to have a say in who the President of the United States is. You got to understand. Then you don't have. What will happen is if you get rid of the Electoral College, you're going to have a civil war. The states will rebel. Yeah. Because it's exactly what will happen. Maryland or little states will say, "Listen, we don't have a vote. We have no say in the presidential election." Is that what you want? When you talk about getting rid of the Electoral College, because when they talk about here, popular vote. Well, I'm sorry, that's the system we have. Give me a better system. Don't bitch about it. And this is what they do here. And of course, it's all about Donald Trump.
And
so this is
Congress
right.
or President Biden
Right.
are powerless. Neither of them are against the anti-democratic Supreme Court.
Again, what does that mean?
What does that
Anti-democratic doesn't
mean?
that's like systemic racism.
Yeah.
Show me what anti-democratic. What did I mean by democratic? We first of all, this country is a constitutional republic. Go look up the definition, people. We're not a pure democracy. Pure democracy, you have 51 people, you have 100 people, 51 do a vote and they decide on what the outcome is. Today, this year we're going to wear red hats. Next year you're going to wear blue hats. Look
at this. The elected branches have broad powers to rein in rogue judiciary or to limit the scope of at least some of the court's decisions. So, what's a rogue judiciary?
No, that's just rhetoric.
But that's my point. See, this is what's being delivered every day to the Washington Post.
Right.
Are these power words, and this is the marketing end of it.
Right. So, if you want to, so this is what they're recommending: adding additional seats to the Supreme Court. First of all, if you did that, you'll have a civil war in this country. You're talking about you'll disable or what's the word I want to use? Mess up the balance of power between the judicial.
Destabilize.
Yeah, you'll destabilize. Yeah. Good point. Now here's the next one: oppose filibuster reform. We're saying that at least 2 members of the Senate, but they want to have filibuster. They want to get rid of filibuster. You get rid of the filibuster. You get rid of the filibuster first, right? Then you could probably pack the court with Supreme Court justices. Interesting. So here's number one: court packing. Yeah. Roosevelt tried to do that, and it got shot down. Court packing. So what happens when the Democrats get in? They put 5 left radical judges, and then for some reason the Republicans get in, and they put in 5. I mean, you're going to have 150 judges there. It's going to be it's no good. It's not. We've been doing this for 250 years. Give me a better idea. Why are you going to court packing? You didn't like the there's remedies still, Jeremy. Other than packing the court, there's other remedies if you want to have abortion extended or have abortion in your state. And that's to deal with the state legislators. Vote the governor out. Get another governor. You know, I mean, in a state where they're gonna, like Texas, I guess what's gonna happen. Texas, if they have no abortion, none, you know what will happen? A guy will run. Well, you and I will run. You could run. I'll let abortion be out for 15 weeks. DeSantis is okaying abortion at 15 weeks.
Yeah.
So they're not outlawing it. I mean, you know, and next.
If you go back up again.
Yeah. So court packing is one.
Scroll it down just a bit. It says if Congress has the votes, it could simply add more seats to the Supreme Court. President Biden would then name several new justices to fill those vacant seats, who could be confirmed by
Senate.
A Democratic Senate.
It
So
ain't
I mean, that's exactly, but that's exactly what you kind of were saying that they could do, and how many justices do we need?
That'll be the ways to change and make up the Supreme Court without giving a clear advantage to one party. Good luck on that. A balanced court, okay, it ain't gonna happen. That's just rhetoric, and I'm just going down here. You can see this on our thing, the Supreme Court lottery. This is all basically to destabilize the Supreme Court and come up here. Term limits for Supreme Court. You know,
if you're bringing out, hold on, if you're going to be bringing out term limits, that's got to go across the board. So Pelosi.
Well, they get voted in, but they do have term.
No, I know, but there should be.
Well, it's a good point. It's a good point.
There should be age limits, really.
But here's ways to weaken the Supreme Court. This is a paper in the United States. Why would you want to weaken the Supreme Court? Judicial stripping. I mean, this goes on and on. This is so anti-American. It's just, I can't believe that we're super majority voting requirements. I cannot believe that we're talking about this stuff.
Presidential or congressional resistance to the Supreme Court.
Well, we went down that road.
Well, that is what Biden has been talking about. Right.
But here's the thing, Jeremy. You know when the last time that happened? 1860? We had the Civil War. The states are going to rebel. That's what's going to happen. Think about what I just said. So let's skip back to abortion and
as soon as they see, this is because this is kind of what's happening out there in the world, and this is a broader glance I'm just throwing out.
Go back to get rid of it.
But these people are making all these changes. A lot of us don't even know what's going on, the regular people. We have to start listening. We have to start watching. We have to start educating our friends and our families and showing them exactly what's going to happen, because it will become a civil war eventually, and that's what they're waiting for. They're trying to push you until you can't be pushed anymore.
Yeah, don't go down that road.
No. We're not going. We shouldn't go down that road. But
don't let them antagonize.
We're
anybody.
already seeing some of that disdain and anger and confusion coming out with these mass shooters. And they're all younger, and they're more confused than the adult ones we had back in the day. And it's horrible out there. It's absolutely horrible. The crime, it's off the charts. And we need to start looking at that specifically instead of constantly bringing up the January 6th thing. But that's what they're concentrating on.
All right, well, let's go. I want to talk about one more thing, because this is where, go back to my phone, and the people who are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, go to our
Facebook, our YouTube, our Rumble,
and look at this
stuff. Be able to see the
so here's what I'm saying. Listen, Jeremy, we've been talking about this. Yeah. We're for peaceful, love, Christian values. Yeah. This our celebrities, our political people are talking crazy. Now look at this. This is a Fox, Gabriel Hayes. Left renounces Independence Day on Twitter. Burn this country to the goddamn ground. Who said that, and who would say that? So it says, prominent liberal tweet expressed disgust for America and indicated that they will not be celebrating our Independence Day as a nation. Let's see who that is. Supreme Court, okay, blah, 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 blah. So we're reading here, and so true colors. Democrats promote F the fourth event as Americans celebrate. So who said this?
Yeah, wonderful. Wait. Scroll down. That's that guy right there. Dean Obadiah
He said it complained that the Supreme Court ruined his holidays. How can a nation celebrate Independence Day when the GOP Supreme Court just stripped women of the right to personal freedom? What about the babies who are being killed? Do they have any rights at all? Jeremy, does the babies have any rights at all?
Because
they got none. They're just a blob of tissue.
The mothers,
a 7-month-old baby, a 6-month-old baby. That looks like a baby.
These women also have the right to contraceptives.
Well,
they can think smart before they play around. That's what the whole thing is.
Right.
Get contraception back into the schools.
But this is how I love how they had a tweet. They take history when they want it. I think that Frederick Douglass was a great man. Now he's going here, says early in his tweet, this guy quoted famous abolitionist Frederick Douglass to convey his current disgust with America. He wrote, again, this is in 1852, when there were slaves, which were treated like dogs, which were executed. It was property.
Your celebration is a
scam. Absolutely, it was. And
your boasted liberty, an unholy license.
Yes.
Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing and are empty and heartless. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow and mockery.
Right, and Frederick Douglass was right. And in 1852, he was absolutely right. And what it led to was the Civil War. Because you know what? In the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, where it said all men are created equal, not everybody believed that. And because they didn't believe that, we had the Civil War. And after the Civil War, you had the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. Let me refresh everybody's memory. 13th Amendment, free the slaves. 14th Amendment, you have the right for life, liberty, and pursuit of property. 15th Amendment, black men could vote. Go back to my phone. So that's different than the Supreme Court saying that abortion has to go back to the states. They didn't say you can't have abortion.
No.
And for this knucklehead here, this to say that this equates to slavery, the same thing, abortion, you're killing potentially if we're wrong and life starts at conception, we've murdered a lot of babies.
Oh, sure.
And we did not honor the Constitution. We did not honor the Declaration of Independence. We certainly didn't honor the 14th Amendment. So please, and then let's see. Wrote, today is an anniversary of the Civil Rights Act. Okay, 4th. Yet there are 200 without basic civil and human rights or independence, fundamental freedoms for women. So a freedom for what about the freedom and the fundamental rights for the baby?
Yeah.
I'm a reasonable man. I just told you I'll give you three months to have an abortion, and even that tugs at my heartstrings. I don't like doing that, but I think it's reasonable. Like you said, for whatever the reason, doesn't have to be a reason.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about pure women rights. We're talking about a living being. So, but let's just go back to these things here about I want to see who here. Ohio State Senator Nina Turner implied that conservatives have no right to celebrate Independence Day this year. She tweeted, "Conservatives are going to trample on human rights, then turn around and celebrate Independence Days." Where'd we? So this is Senate. This is Ohio State Senate. Oh, excuse me, Nina Turner. How did anybody trample on women's rights?
No, on human rights. She said, if you go back up.
Yeah,
it's human rights.
Well, what about the baby? They're not human.
What about all the other rights? Why is this one? Why are you speaking up loud about this? The time to fight about people yanking your rights out from underneath your feet should have been a year ago too.
Why? What was a year ago?
Well, I mean, before this.
Everything.
Like our rights are our right to speech, our right to bear arms, our right to do everything. But this is the one that we're pulling out all the flags for. I just don't get it. If you're so concerned about human rights, where it's ruining a holiday for you, okay, look at all of them, not just that one.
Right. So we're going to shift. So here's the thing. So abortion, I think we're on record that it should be rare. I think that Florida has a good model. 15 weeks, which is a little over 3 months.
Yeah.
If you don't know you're pregnant by then, and if you are actively having sex, even if you're on birth control, get the test. And then, you have an abortion. It should be safe. I think that you should have Planned Parenthood, where Planned Parenthood talks about adoption, and it should really stress adoption. Yeah. There's a lot of people want these adopted babies. So let's go back. And let's not go beat up the Supreme Court. They're doing what they think is the law. They're not biased. They're not, these crazy people. They're looking at the law. These are highly intelligent, morally sound individuals who are trying to make the best decisions based on what they believe is law and how they interpret it. Let's go back now to another decision, which was EPA versus Virginia. Now listen to this. And this is another interesting thing. We're going to go back on my phone again. This Trevor Noah. It says, you go back here. So Trevor Noah nails the most obscure part of the Supreme Court EPA decision. Let me make a point on what the EPA. No, excuse me. Congress makes laws.
Oh, he's the host of the Daily Show.
Right. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. He's a big shot. So listen to this. Who makes laws in this country, Jeremy? Congress and the Senate.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's the legislative branch. They're the ones who's supposed to make the law. But what they did is, over time, they've given certain executive branch entities. What I mean by the executive branch, the President of the United States is the executive branch, and under that there's the EPA, the IRS, the military, and they've given these entities the ability to make their own rules and regulations. So Congress doesn't have to pass a law. EPA could pass their own internal rules and regulations that people have to abide by. So actually these, if you want to call it swamp, or these are non-elective officials running huge entities. These huge, EPA building in Washington D.C. is the size. It was like 10 blocks, whatever. Yeah. They make law, and there's no accountability. They're not elected. And I think that's wrong. That's one of the biggest problems in this country. You could talk to a lot of people on the right and left. They're saying that the swamp, the administrative state, is out of control, and there's no checks and balances. So what happened is the Supreme Court said, no. The EPA cannot make these rules that hurt people, okay? And so to me, what happens? It goes back to Congress now. If you want to take care of pollution, you need to deal with the Congress, not the EPA hurting and going. Talk about bias. So this guy Trevor, he's talking about that. He blasted yet another Supreme Court decision on Thursday in the wake of the ruling, right? And what he's talking about here is that this is another setback in the fight against climate change and a logic defending disaster to Noah. He's looking at it purely as a problem with the EPA and pollution. This is a bigger issue here. This is what this did, Jeremy. Listen, what this really did is the Supreme Court said no. The executive branch, right? And these entities under the executive branch, which the president has no control over anymore. They lost control over the EPA, or maybe they don't or do. But the Supreme Court's saying no. You want to pass climate change laws, then let Congress. Why? Because if Congress changes the law and people don't like it, they could vote them out. You understand? There's.
Right, so this Noah guy, he goes on to say
he's from South Africa.
Hold on, scroll back up again.
Yeah.
Right there at the bottom. Keep going. Scroll back down.
Oh.
No, the other way.
Oh, it says here. It says here.
It is a defeat for human life. He says, at the bottom. So
he goes like this. He goes, the Supreme Court just ruled that the Environmental Protection Agency does not have the authority to protect the environment. Bullshit. They don't have the authority to make law. The Congress does. So what is their job now? Just going to look at the environment and be like, oh shit. See, this guy is not an American. I don't know if he's got American.
He's not even a journalist.
He doesn't. No.
He's a comedic.
Listen. Right, he's a
that's what he is.
And he's from South Africa. He doesn't understand that
it's
statement
like
right
Jimmy
there.
Fallon telling you the state of the world.
Right. This guy here, yes, idiot. I'm sorry. The Supreme Court, that's not their job. The Supreme Court's job is to look at the law that the Senate and the Congress passed and decide if it meets the constitutional muster, if it's constitutional. No, the Supreme Court doesn't make law.
Yeah.
They now, you know, so he's looking at it this way. These people are warped, Jeremy. I mean, I don't know if these people are not smart or they got a political agenda, but you know, so no. What I want Environmental Protection Agency to be handed rules and regulations voted by, invented by but the Congress and the Senate, who I have voted to get in there. That's what you call a constitutional republic. I have the ability to give elected officials the ability to make law. Supreme Court, the EPA, there's nobody in the EPA that's elected. They're hired guns, and they went overboard. Yeah. Okay, Supreme Court justice, you know, it's not their business to decide. You know, the environment. Let the people on the other side deal with that. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting. You know.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So let's go back to me. I want to go because we're talking about a lot of crazy stuff here.
Yeah.
So let me give you one more. So you understand? So right. I know he's a comedian, but amazing when they talk like that.
Yeah, but don't get like folks out there. Like if you're getting your news from somebody like this guy, yeah, you're doing it wrong. You know, like just regroup and try again. You're gonna find a voice out there that's gonna meet how you feel, and you can learn some stuff that isn't just there for comedic relief. Right.
Now let's hit another one with the Supreme Court, because this is everybody's like, and this has to do with medicine, and I see this, all of these things, you know, like climate control. I mean, I tell you what, I saw people years ago when we did autopsies on people who lived in the city, their lungs were filled with soot. You know, I think every city should have electric cars. You know, like no trucks. I'm all for clean energy. Trust me, the environment kills people. You know, but in the meantime, we worry about, you know, pollution, right? And climate. But in the meantime, New Jersey is letting everybody smoke marijuana, and it's not a crime anymore. For anybody under 21 could smoke marijuana in public, on the beaches, on the boardwalk, in their cars, and all they're going to get is a warning. So we're encouraging it. What is all that smoke doing, first of all, to the environment, and number two, to their health? So please, you know, but getting back to so we got the abortion, Roe v. Wade. So we talked about that, what we feel is appropriate, but also, you know, you can't throw the Supreme Court because they made that, you know, judgment. The next thing is the EPA issue, you know, in prayer, but also that EPA, which is EPA versus Virginia, that's a huge thing, because now, that's a huge thing going forward, because the next president of the United States, who's probably going to be Trump, that's a.
It made me happy just then. Yeah.
They're gonna dismantle that thing that they just did, that they just passed. Forget about climate control. It has nothing to do with. That's only the small part of it. This is one step in taking away the power from the swamp, taking the from this non-elected entity. And what was the guy who did JFK, the movie? What was his name?
Coppola.
No, it wasn't Coppola.
That was Coppola.
No, JFK, the movie JFK.
That was...
no, it wasn't Coppola.
It wasn't Coppola. It was...
And you know, he said the biggest problem with this country, one of the things that we face is that swamp. And he's done a few movies like that. But, yeah, find his name. I can't think of it right.
Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't. He's not a Trump fan, and he's on Joe Rogan smoking pot.
Like
whatever.
you do.
Yeah. Well, you know, I you know, people who smoke pot, God bless you. You know, if you want to do it, you do it. You know, I think it makes you stupid, but that's, you know, just you know. I mean, I'm stupid and I never smoke pot, so it doesn't necessarily. You don't have to.
I could still use a little stupid. I think.
I know, but my point is, I know you. You know, people use it medically, and so I shouldn't even say that. My point is that Oliver Stone, who's liberal. You know, I don't.
But I will say,
I like the guy. I have a lot of respect for him.
You know, I take it medicinally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I take it back. It's okay to smoke.
No. But I will admit to you freely that I forget things all the time now, and I didn't before.
Yeah.
You know.
But my point about Oliver Stone, he's a proponent of the swamp. So this is a big thing. So you could let Trevor North, bitch about EPA and all that, and stay stupid stuff. Washington Post. Let's talk about this last one because I want to talk about this now. Yeah. Don't put it up yet. So now the other one that they passed was gun issue, and it was a lawsuit. New York Rifle Association versus New York State. And there's states that have either shall issue or may issue gun permits to carry. So we're talking about not getting a gun. You can get a gun in most states. Yeah. I don't know if any state, outlaws guns, but you can't, in New Jersey, for instance, you can't conceal carry. You have to have unbelievable reasons to have a gun, to carry. The Supreme Court said basically, no, you have the right to protect yourself. You have the right for life, which means you have the right to protect yourself and carry a gun. Yeah. Okay, now.
But also, doesn't that right protect the fact that you can and it can't be fiddled with by like it protects your right to have a gun, not for you to have a gun. So how am I saying this wrong?
There's your pot kicking in.
Yeah, that's it.
That's really so it. Try to.
But what
are you trying to say? Yeah, tell me.
The right protects against other people trying to take away the right as well.
Well, let's just look at the gun. Let's just talk about the Second Amendment.
Do you see what I mean?
Well, kind of. But here's the thing. We had it in our last show. People should go and look at our last show. Most of the gun deaths in the United States are suicide with handguns, about over 50%. The rest are, a crime, murders in the cities, and about 60% of that is black on black. And then about 3% are these crazy shootings, that you have these.
Guy at the bodega.
Yeah. No, well, not the. But yeah, we'll talk about that. But the thing with 4th of July, and that's actually about 3%, believe it or not. So let's get back. The Second Amendment, if you look at the way it's written, it says the government will not infringe. Not infringe. Yeah. So the founding.
That's what I was saying.
Right. The founding fathers didn't give you the right to protect yourself. They said it's God given. Yeah. It's nature given. And this comes from English law. So the Second Amendment, basically, in my opinion, and I think that most people's opinion, well, not most people, but is that you have the right to protect yourself. You have the right for life.
If somebody's going to do you physical harm, you can protect yourself against that.
Well, that's the premise. That's the Second Amendment. Yeah. Now, what the Supreme Court Justice did is they actually took it to another step. They cited the Second Amendment and the 14th Amendment. Again, the 14th Amendment is you have the right for life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. So what does that mean, you have the right for life? You have the right to live. This is a fundamental right. It's actually, if you look at the international law that's out there, you have the fundamental right to live. Yeah. Which means you have the fundamental right to protect yourself. So what they're saying is state of New Jersey, New York, and California, the state, which is the government, cannot infringe on your right to protect yourself. And what they're saying is, you can't just have the gun in the house. When you walk outside, you should be able to carry the gun. Now, of course, I go back to Florida. They got great. I'm all for it. Probably shouldn't carry a gun until you're 21. You should have these red floor legs. If you're going through a divorce or you're, mental ill or you're raging or, whatever, they should be able to take the guns away, at least temporarily, within the Constitution. Should be able to get them back if you're reasonable. But we need to have
stuff like if you got a tattoo across your face
that says "kill everybody."
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd give you a gun.
You sure about that? But what if I only killed the people you want dead?
Yeah. Well, that's not. But here's the thing. What cracks me up is this: we're all bent out of shape about and most of these shootings are like these mentally ill white kids. Yeah. This last one, But there was a guy in
This last one, the one where he the sniper guy, right?
Right,
in the parade.
Right.
He planned that one for weeks.
But remember what I just said. About 3% of all, there's about 45,000 people a year die gun violence.
Yeah.
About 3-4%, maybe 5% is these mass shootings. 52% or more. You guys could go and look at this up at the CDC. Is I think mostly suicide. And then the rest is, crime, heavy-duty crime. Now, what's interesting, and go to my phone now. I want to show you this. So when we talk about this, right? This is the Washington Post, which cracks me up. Now, see, they put this in here. Again, this is I think, the Washington Post loves to stir the pot to get people angry. But this is my pet peeve, and I've been talking about this, and I agree with this article here. With little outcry, Chicago's bloodiest weekend eclipsed Highland Park toll. And you could go here and look at how many people died. And this is mostly, here you go. There are no crowdsourced charity drives raising millions for victim families in Chicago, where the holiday weekend death toll reached at least 10, with 62 injured. Numbers that exceeded the toll in Monday's mass shooting at the July 4th parade in nearby Highland Park, in an affluent lakeside suburb. The violence was an anomaly. Here it is a grim, regular occurrence. So we have these.
The one thing I learned about it yesterday, Maggie was telling me about it. In the aftermath of that parade shooting, there was I think it was a 2-year-old little boy, just standing there, and his parents were shot dead. And they were, I mean, but he's just standing there, and people didn't even know who he belonged to or what. And no, he witnessed his parents being shot dead in front of him.
Right. And in Chicago, little kids are getting killed every day.
Yeah.
Stray bullets, black on white crime, black crime.
Don't you feel like articles like this, though, are, if these type of people would read these type of articles, it's almost a challenge. Like, this Chicago's bloodiest weekend ever. So then the people that are sick in the head are going to be thinking, oh, well, we'll outdo that weekend this weekend. How about that, boys?
But the reason why I bring this up is this.
I always worry about that because we're so fragile to begin with. Right,
that's going to happen, and we're society is sick. These kids are mentally ill. But here's my point, Jeremy. I'm trying to bring discourse to this problem. These politicians and some of these people, on the left, they're going off on these mass shootings, which is a small percentage, and they want to, knock out, all the guns. In the meantime, everybody's going, how can this be going on when the Supreme Court is making this determination that you could carry a gun? And then the politicians are going, it's crazy. Well, the point is that, again, we're talking about life. How precious is life? And is it getting, like for me, I'm state New Jersey. Now, they're probably going to have to change the law. Would I carry a gun? No. I'd like to have the ability to carry it, but I don't think I need to carry it now. I don't feel that, it's that bad. But some people, maybe in high-risk areas, want to carry a gun. And if you're a law-abiding citizen, I think you should have the right. Getting back to, this, in the city, you go back to our last show. We outlined it. 52% or more people who die of gun violence is self-inflicted suicide. How do you fix that? Get rid of all the guns? It may slow it down or minimize it. I don't know, and I don't know if you could really get rid of all the guns, Jeremy. But you need mental health awareness, mental health treatment, and you got to take the guns away from people who are sick.
Yeah, I said last week.
You know what I'm saying? That's one thing.
If we need to send, say, if a woman or a man decides to get gastric bypass, right, surgery, and they have to go to therapists for an extended amount of time. Yeah. They have to go through tests. Yeah. They have to go through all of this stuff to make sure they're in the right mind when they make that decision. Right.
I'm good for that. Listen, to get a gun, if they pass a law in the state of New Jersey, carry, you got to go to a psychiatrist. You have to have a mental. Yeah. I'm fine. You got to go to range and practice. I mean, it's an awesome responsibility. I agree. I don't think an 18-year-old kid should have a gun. 21.
And this is for everybody and anybody who
Right.
needs a gun. They need to be seen through a
Right.
psychiatrist
Right.
to find out if they're nutsy cuckoo.
The other thing is mental health.
Yeah.
I think background checks are important, but I'm a big proponent. I think you should be able to, in New Jersey, concealed carry if you want to. If you I'll tell you another thing is with the inner city, crime, like in Chicago. Tell you how to fix that. Stop and frisk. Stop and frisk.
Yeah, stop and frisk. Yeah,
Take
but
the
I
damn
believe
guns
in that
away
as
from these
well.
people. You say, oh, you're gonna focus on.
See, the problem
It's
with
racist.
stopping, it's
Okay.
racist. That's
Okay.
that's the problem because that's the rebuttaled argument.
Well,
you just picked on me because I'm this color or I'm of this faith or whatever the frick.
No.
No, it's everybody. Everybody. If you look suspicious, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, police officers are trained to see how people hold themselves, carry themselves. It's not like, I was, what's that thing where they have a folder on there? I was profiled. Yeah.
Profile.
No, they profiled me because I'm black or they profiled me because I'm gay.
Right.
No. They profiled you because you look friggin' sketchy.
So, but the theme, you're right. The theme here is about a Supreme Court is out of control. They did all these things. All these people are yelling, the world's on fire.
Yeah.
Supreme Court's bias. Democracy's done. It's the end of the world.
Yeah.
No. Listen, we've been down this road before.
Yeah.
Okay, Supreme Court back in the day. I mean, they upheld slavery back in the day.
Yeah.
People gotta understand slavery was legal. I mean, you own.
So when you're talking, actually,
about
that's funny though. If you're talking about these inalienable human rights, that seems to be one that completely got missed. Wasn't it slavery?
Yeah.
George Carlin made a joke about that. But he's 100% right.
Think about you. If you owned a slave, that was property. It was like a dog. You could go out there and shoot him in the head, or her, or whatever, and there was no ramifications. I mean, that's why 800,000 men died, gave their lives for the idea of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. There was a lot of people who did not believe that slavery was right. Okay, and of course there was state rights, but it boiled down to slavery, Jeremy. Yeah. So we passed that over 100 years ago. And, so we're not. That's why I say this. What we're doing right now is democracy. When you talk about democracy, really, it's a constitution republic. It's slow sometimes. Sometimes it's kind of ratchety. Sometimes they get it wrong, and sometimes they get it right. But to call for, this mass, hysteria and kill people and do all kinds of things. What are you doing, Jeremy? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just looking at something.
So I think that it's not the way to go, and I think a lot of these periodicals inflame the whole situation. So all these things that the Supreme Court did, I think they're reasonable. The Supreme Court is functioning the way it should, and if you don't like these things that came down, then go after legislation.
You're bashing Clarence Thomas. Leave that guy alone. Jesus Christ. This is a hard thing to judge on. Well, to pass a judgment on.
Right.
They didn't come by this by just a quick talk in the back room. They had to ponder this for a good long time because they knew so many emotions were stacked on top of it.
Well, I'm very sure. Yeah, and all of these things that we talked about, in my opinion, the way I look at it, focus on life. When you talk about you're giving people the gun, how many people in the United States and in the world protect themselves from perpetrators, serious injury?
How many of those perpetrators actually have a legal license to carry a gun?
Probably none of them.
No. Yeah.
The thing is,
so they want to take the guns away from the people who are buying them to protect themselves.
Get your bottle out of the way there, Jeremy. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't support this.
Yeah. Well, there it is. I got a better picture of it. Say, there you go. Here, let me look at Jeremy. There she is.
Yeah. Hey, Pepsi, give us a call. All right.
But my thing, Jeremy, is with when they talk about women are all bent out of shape about their rights, and I understand that. Listen, but it took you can't. Unless you here's another thing. Unless you took I guess you could get yourself pregnant. With a doctor putting a tube up there, but it takes two to get pregnant. Number one, as far as I know.
Two to tango, my friend.
Right, and so the other thing is where's the men's rights in this thing? That's half his baby or her baby.
You mean white men's rights?
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think and I don't even go down that road. Whether or not you should have before you have an abortion, maybe the father should have a little say. Can you imagine that?
Hang on a minute. I already bought a baseball glove. Can we dial it back a bit here? What did you want to do?
So what about the father's rights?
Yeah.
So what if the father says, "Listen, I want to have that baby," and she's like saying, "Well, screw you. It's my body," blah 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 blah. Yeah, I listen. I didn't even. That's another whole argument.
I'm gonna tell you something. I had a girlfriend. I was young. Okay. I was in my early 20s, I think, and I had a young girlfriend, and she got pregnant. Okay. Now, what did we do? We had an abortion. Okay. Was I okay with that? No. Did I have some false apprehension that I needed to stand up and do what the woman wanted and stuff? Yes, I did, because I was not educated. I was not mature enough to understand the choice that we were making. And oh my God, it was a nightmare. We had to walk through abortion protesters, okay, to get into the building. Yeah. And
did they throw blood on you and stuff?
No, but there was this one guy. He dropped open a briefcase, and inside the briefcase were these sculptures he made of what babies look like after they've been aborted on all these different ways, And it was the most nightmarish thing. And this guy hand sculpted them, put them in a briefcase, and carries this freaking thing around from protest to protest. And there were people in the line that didn't even. There was a homeless guy in the line. His skin was yellowed. He probably had hepatitis, and he was just marching and stuff. But it was hard, especially for a girl who wasn't ready and a guy who wasn't smart enough or mature enough to make a better decision.
Right, and I think what's going to happen, Jeremy, is that comment.
I've thought about that choice, though, I made all through my life. Yeah. All through my life, I've thought about that choice. I even imagined a name for the little baby, a sex, and that maybe she'll be in heaven waiting for me or something like that. Because over the years, my mind did mature, and I did educate myself. Okay, and I did start to see things differently than I did when I was younger, when I was more childish. Well, so that actually explains a lot with what kids are going through today. You got to be very careful what they decide and choose, and for all of us, because you can do damaging things, and you don't realize just to what extent you're damaging your future, yourself, your heart, your mind. By making choices that, like I did,
Well, listen, abortion is a tough issue, and this is.
My parents begged me not to do it, and I was trying to do right by my girl, because that was like this, like false bravado that they force fed you back then. Yeah. But it's sad, and no matter how you look at it, it's sad.
Right. Well, I'm going to tell because we're gonna end this show, but here's what I would say: the Supreme Court is not broken. Actually, this country is not broken. I mean, we have there's questions about the election. There's questions about which way we're going, but we still have the Constitution. We still have the filibuster. We didn't pack the court, and the Supreme Court it's rocky right now, and there's a lot of protests, and people are upset. But I see, I don't. Violence is not the way around this. Yeah. Exciting, go F the court and go F this country. Yeah.
Mike and I are huge proponents for kindness.
Yeah,
well, we say it almost every show. Be kind.
F this. Where are you going to go? Like I say, I can say, well, go to another country. And there's some countries that might be financially better, but the United States has a lot of freedoms that a lot of other countries don't. Yeah, and we're struggling.
Keep those freedoms.
Right, and there's still prejudice. There's still all kinds of prejudice in this country. I don't think it's systemic. I think it's individual. And there's
I think we all just collectively have to let people live and let live. If we do that, you're going to find that there's no problem at all out there. Well, none that we don't make for ourselves. No. You know?
I think so let's cap this. I think with the abortion and what went down, it's going to the states, and I think there's going to be a lot of discussion at the state level of what's considered appropriate, not. And there's going to be lawsuits, and there's going to be legislation, and it's probably going to go back to the Supreme Court eventually. Yeah. Maybe there will be a push to have an amendment, a constitutional amendment to the amendment to the Constitution to allow some kind of abortion. I don't know how that's going to look, because you have 14th Amendment that talks about life. You have the right for life. Mm-hmm. Well, if that baby is considered life somewhere along the line, when does that right kick in? Let's all think about it. Let's slow down, and every woman out there and every man and should really say, okay, is this thing just a lump of tissue? When does God put life into that? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I think that a reasonable, compromise right now, so we don't, go crazy, is the first trimester, which is 12 weeks. Florida says 15. That's number one. Number two is with the guns. And I understand there's a lot of violence in this country. I mean, it's terrible. And I don't think the way to go is to trash. You'd have to now trash the Second Amendment and the 14th Amendment. Again, if you say that a black person, that 14th Amendment was about slaves had the right to live, well, we all have the right to live. I think that a lot of people who are getting guns are black people. I know there was an article that, because you live in, if I could tell you right now, if it is a systemic racial society and I'm a black guy, I want to own a gun and I want to carry. Right, yeah. Right? Yeah, yeah, and if the cops are all corrupt and they're killing black people left and right, I think a lot of black people, I would say, and legally, and I'm all for that. My son-in-law, he's got guns. I mean, he has the right. He served in the military. He did 4 years in the military. Really? God bless him. Yeah. So, what's good for the goose, good for the gander. I think that's a good thing that they passed. The states could get red flag laws.
That's the thing, though. Like they passed. They brought it back to the states. Roe versus Wade. And that's the cool thing, because they didn't take away a power from everybody. They gave them one. If your state is against what you believe as far as abortion goes,
we could leave.
You can go to another state where they accept it.
You make a good point, Jeremy. The Supreme Court did not tell the states they can't have abortion. Right. They actually said, you deal with it. What they did, though, the other side of the coin is, they did tell the states you can't infringe on people's rights to own a gun and to carry them. Right. So they did. There was an opposite thing. Abortion, they threw back to the states, says, hey, God bless you. Do what you want to do. Yeah. The guns, is like, you can't infringe on these people's rights. That's two different things. The EPA, that thing, they said, hey, listen, Congress, you do the you do the laws. Not don't get lazy and throw it to the EPA, who is not a. There's no checks and balances on the EPA. Who you can't fire. I mean, you can fire them, but if the ones who should make law are the Congress. That's how it's set up. Yeah. And the one with the what do you call it, the Voting Act and all that. That's that religion. That's just I don't even want to get into that. I think but to talk about.
No, but to say that it's in the state's powers, and that power is your power. So if you are unhappy and you're protesting and you hate your neighbors because they're for abortion and you're not, you can move and find new neighbors in another state that gives you everything you want. See, that's why
that's the beauty
America
of the United States.
Is still the land where the streets are paved with gold, the land of freedom, because you have the freedom to decide what state suits you best.
Right. And far as I know, even if you're like a piece of garbage, like, I don't know, got a million convictions, like say you killed 10 people and you served 50 years in jail, you get out,
like you do,
and you're in New Jersey. I think you go move to Texas and they I mean,
fresh start maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think any state could stop you from going and living there. Yeah. So I think that the system is working. A lot of people don't like how it is working.
Yeah. Well, when you said earlier about Trump coming back.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
This is my dream. Okay, just give me a couple seconds. Okay?
Yeah, indulge yourself.
This is my
What's
my
your dream? Give me a dream.
I want Trump to come back in, right? And I want him to do everything that Biden did to him. All right. I want him to start breaking down all the bullshit that Biden put into place that's been hurting us. Tear it all down, man. Tear it all down quicker than he tore down what Trump did.
Well,
You know, and that's and undo all of that.
Right.
So that means reopen the pipelines, reopen everything. The give us a wall, give us it all, man. Because he was the president for the people.
Right. Well,
we didn't shut up enough to listen to him.
No, well, he's got. Here's the thing: whoever the next president is, what we need to do is three things, and I want to close. We need to have energy independence. Yeah, energy independence. We have energy. We have the
That's
energy.
That's a no-brainer.
The gas.
That's what we need.
I can tell you, I don't care what anybody says. The gas prices at the pump will go down to less than $2. We'll have so much of it, and we could export it. Energy independence. The second thing we need is border security. You can't have all illegal immigration. It needs to be controlled. I'm all for immigration. I want as many people to come in here. And I tell you what, the South American people are good people. They're Christian. They're family orientated. But you can't have it just a bum rush. It's no good. It's not good for anybody. And the third thing. What's the third thing, Jeremy? What do you think the third thing is?
The third thing.
It's not a tough one, but we used to have it 50 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago.
Oh, what's that?
Manufacturing. We have to have manufacturing in this company.
Oh, yeah.
We need to manufacture. We don't make, bras or girdles or TVs or iPhones.
We don't make anything. Everything's getting shopped off to China and Japan.
We need to make stuff in this country.
Now
we need to.
I'm a collector of board games and stuff.
Yeah.
I kickstart tons of board games. I still got a whole stack up on my computer. I'm waiting to get to me. Why don't I have them now? Because China's been on lockdown. Japan, the shipments and stuff, and the supply chain. We need to start. We need to start manufacturing that stuff within our country. Not just my thing, but like all things. This is where people are struggling for work and all of that. And the Midwest is pretty empty. Let's start building some factories out there where people don't mind.
Here's what you got to worry about, Jeremy, right now. And you talk about the country. If China makes a move on Taiwan, which they've been posturing for years, 90% of the high-end chips are made there. About 50% of chips. And if there's a blockade or there's a war, we're going to be done. Yeah. We're not going to get chips. We can't make them fast enough. Russia will get involved. You could have World War III. This thing in Ukraine.
What happened to Silicon Valley and all of
that?
Well,
now you have Russia is making stuff. Russia, people don't understand. Russia is still a big power. They have I think the biggest military second after us. I don't know. It's China. I mean, I think it's us, China, and maybe Russia. But this thing in Ukraine, I hope it doesn't metastasize into World War III. And you got China. So there's a bigger picture here that all this stuff that we talked about, the politics, it's fixable. It's part of the give and take of democracy, and it will wash itself out. But World War III is a game changer, and it's actually an ender. And
end of game. That's it.
Einstein said, "I don't know how World War III is going to be fought, but World War IV is going to be fought with sticks and stones." And that's the end of life. And most likely we'll be incinerated in 1 second anyway, because where we live in New Jersey. And that's one thing about living.
I don't want to be incinerated in 1 second.
You wouldn't even know what hit you.
But I want to see it coming.
You won't even see it coming. No.
If I see death, a personification of death approach me, I want the chance to kick him in the goolies.
No, you'd feel warm, and that's it. You'd feel a bright light and warm, and that would be it. You'd be gone. So on that good note, listen, we all hope that things work out. I think the presidency, I'll give you a prediction. I'll put it online. I think it's going to be Trump versus Hillary Clinton.
That'll be fantastic for me.
How do you like that one?
That's me sitting every night with a bag of friggin' popcorn on my lap and just watching it go.
Right.
Watching it go and see what happens. Because that is must-see TV right there.
Yeah, I don't know who will vote for who. But anyway.
But this time around, that woman needs to be put behind bars for that whole Russian colluding crap and all of that jazz. President Biden with the laptop from hell. Now that we found out that he knew everything that Hunter was doing, he even called him to make sure that he was in the clear.
All right, you could save that for your other show.
I know.
You won't find out. So listen, Jeremy, we put up where they can get us on our email.
Yeah, our email.
So our email is drkachmar@icloud.com. That's drkachmar@icloud.com. Our webpage is jerseyshore.footandlegcenter.com. That's jerseyshore.footandlegcenter.com. And my phone number here locally is 732-269-1133. We actually do foot and ankle surgery. I'm a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. Yeah, we've been talking a lot of politics, but we're going to, in the winter, I think in the fall, we'll start do a lot of, medical shows and do some videos. But in the meantime, please watch our other channels, Lifeguarding with Dr. Michael Kachmar, and we have
Painless with Dr.
Painless.
Gabriel
We'll
Jasper,
start the music again.
and Radio Free America with Dr. Barbara
and
Schneider.
that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right.
And guess who hosts all of them? Me.
Yeah, and and again, we're on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Everywhere fine podcasts are found.
Jeremy, say goodbye.
Goodbye, Jeremy.
All right, Jeremy, let's sign us out.
All right.
Let's push the button there and say finish on the bottom there.